Emily in Paris returns to Netflix on December 18th for its 5th and final season. And while the show is definitely not this channel's usual fare, I figured the fashion on it most definitely falls under the category of mess, so it might be worthwhile for us to talk about. Plus, despite this character doing our name dirty with outfits that genuinely piss me off, throughout the show there's been a lot of great references and homages to real-life fashion icons and designers that a lot of people probably missed upon first hate watch. So today I'm going to unpack a few of those most notable moments just in time for the final season of the show. In season 1, we meet the designer Pierre Cadault, who seems to be an amalgamation of a lot of the big diva personalities of a number of famous creative directors, especially Karl Lagerfeld. There's also something decidedly Pierre Cardin about him, not only because of the name, but also Cadault's penchant for slapping his face on any given product, like the line of Rimowa suitcases he debuts on the show. Similarly, Cardin was the first designer, followed shortly by Halston, to sign a licensing deal that put his name on everything from couture to home goods. In later seasons, Cadault fakes his own death to evade a brand takeover by JVMA, which seems to be an allusion to the real-life massive fashion conglomerate LVMH. The final collection Cadault presents in season 1 is clearly directly inspired by Victor and Rolf's Spring 2019 collection, which featured big circus tent-like gowns with catchphrases printed down the center of them. The perfect meme fodder for our digital age. And Cadault also collaborates with a streetwear brand called Grey Space, which seems to be a play on the real streetwear brand Off-White. Throughout the show, there are a number of fashion Easter eggs for Sex and the City fans, which makes sense given that costume designer Patricia Field worked on both shows. She even told Fashionista in an interview, "For me, Emily in Paris in certain ways was an elongated version of Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City." Field also referenced some of her personal favorite Sex and the City costume moments in the show, like Emily's black strapless tutu-skirted gown by Alexandre Vauthier, which was meant as an homage to the billowing layers of seafoam green tulle Carrie wears in the show's Paris set finale. And if you look closely, Emily also wears personalized nameplate earrings, much like Carrie's signature nameplate necklace. In both shows, the main character steps in dog poop while wearing fancy designer shoes, every luxury lover's worst nightmare, and towards the end of season 1, Emily ends up having to model a dress on the runway for one of her clients. In real life, the dress was made by Stéphane Roland Haute Couture and was designed to look like a giant flower. Giant flowers are of course a staple of Carrie's wardrobe, and the scene is also reminiscent of the SATC star's own fashion show mishap, where she face-planted on the runway while wearing Dolce & Gabbana. As for Emily's devastatingly chic boss Sylvie, Field said that her wardrobe of Rick Owens and Yohji Yamamoto was actually inspired by all the women she saw leaving a Jean Paul Gaultier show during Paris Fashion Week. She explained, "I called Darren Star and I said, 'Darren, I'm in Paris. I'm going to check out all the French chic gals.' When I went outside and sat around, I'm like, all the girls are wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts and hoodies. So Sylvie, she epitomizes French chic, and she was my opportunity to do that." In addition to Carrie Bradshaw, the guiding style light of Emily in Paris is unquestionably Audrey Hepburn. Emily's wardrobe is littered with a number of one-to-one recreations of the movie star's on-screen looks. For a big night at the opera, Emily wears an off-the-shoulder chevron sheer-paneled midi dress by Christian Siriano, and Cosmo Paris crystal-embellished D'Orsay pumps accessorized with a vintage bejeweled bag and shrug. Field explained of the moment, "If you look at Lily, she's a doppelganger of Audrey Hepburn, and I'm a major fan of Audrey Hepburn. So I was like, I'm gonna do an homage to Hepburn in Funny Face." In the beginning I was wondering, do you think people will take it wrong? But at the end, I think it worked. In the poster for the 4th season's second half, Lily wears a red satin gown with matching opera gloves as she descends Rome's Spanish steps. This is another clear reference to Funny Face, specifically the take the picture scene filmed on the Louvre's Daru staircase. In another episode filmed in Rome, Emily and her new boyfriend Marcello spend the day wandering around the city, for which she wears a look inspired directly by Audrey Hepburn in Roman Holiday. In the film, Hepburn's Princess Anne wore a white collared shirt, striped neck scarf, and pleated midi skirt, while zipping around Rome on a Vespa. And Emily does exactly the same. That season, Emily also goes on a ski trip with Gabrielle and Camille, wearing an exact copy of Audrey's fur-trimmed snow bunny look in the opening scene of Charade, designed by Hubert de Givenchy. That film was set in Megève, France, the same location where the Netflix show was filmed. For the show's Grand Baccarat Masquerade Ball, Lily asked her friend Nina Ricci designer Harris Reed to create a custom look for the big moment. Reed came up with a black and white striped catsuit with a voluminous skirt pinned to the hips, which he explained was inspired by the look Babe Pally's daughter Amanda Carter Burden wore to Truman Capote's 1966 black and white ball, and the gown Cecil Beaton designed for Hepburn in My Fair Lady. Capote's ball was also influential in the general costume design of the scene. The show's lead costume designer Marilyn Fitoussi explained in an interview, "Since season 1, I wanted to do a masquerade ball because it's been a French tradition since the 18th century. I wanted to mix French tradition with American tradition." So she decided to go with a black and white palette for the ball, inspired by Truman Capote's iconic masquerade ball held on November 28, 1966 at the Plaza Hotel in honor of Washington Post publisher Katharine Graham. The author threw this party at the height of his fame following the publication of his novel In Cold Blood earlier that year, inviting all of his rich and famous friends such as Mia Farrow, Lauren Bacall, Candice Bergen, Walter Cronkite, Henry Ford II, Guy de Rothschild, and Johnny Carson, amongst many others. And much like Emily in Paris's costume designer, Capote was also apparently inspired by the Ascot scene in My Fair Lady, in which all the women are dressed in black and white. And finally, Fitoussi explained that Italian silver screen sirens from the 60s and 70s were also a major source of fashion inspiration for her over the course of season 4. She explained that all the polka dots you see in the Rome section are also a tribute to the black and white Italian films I love so much. Monica Vitti, Sophia Loren, Claudia Cardinale, all these stunning women. Sophia Loren in particular had these beautiful polka dot dresses in several 60s and 70s films, and I know Dolce & Gabbana was also inspired by those, which is why in the show you can likewise see a shot of Emily zipping around Rome on a Vespa in a spotted Vivienne Westwood dress. So that's been a few of the real-life fashion parallels found in Emily in Paris. Thanks so much for watching this experiment in mess content, and thank you as always to Ruth Ann Harnish for sponsoring these explorations ever deeper into the fashion quagmire. I'll see you all back here in the new year with some fashion trend predictions for 2026. Until then, enjoy the brain rot.